Hi, everybody. So great to see you on today's Over 50 and Flourishing. Today's episode is a little bittersweet for me. It lands on a day that would have been my mother's 88th birthday here, December 11th. And as difficult as this day is for me, I thought what a rare and sweet opportunity to be able to talk about something that not only will help me through my grieving process, but you as well. If this is something that you're going through, especially during the holiday season when grieving can be especially difficult, when we are really having to change family dynamics, rituals, and things that have become such a part of our fabric that no longer are. And what does that look like and what does that feel like, especially during times of being alone or not having the people in our lives that we're so accustomed to having, and all these traditions and the way that they were shaped in ways that were so comfortable and familiar. So I wanted today's guest to really be able to help me, to help us through this process. And it's done through an incredibly unique and special idea, one that touched me personally, and I really wanted to share with you. So my guest today not only has a deep understanding about grief herself, but also, like I said, a unique way to be able to express that and impact others. Her name is Sandra Morgan, and she is the co-founder of Letters from Elizabeth. It's basically a subscription service that offers stories of grief to those who have experienced loss. Now, these stories can be very heartwarming or kind of heart-rending, gut-wrenching, depending on, what it is that's being discussed, because they're coming from somebody who has experienced grief herself and what that looks like in the expression of that. And as you know, the grieving journey takes you on a roller coaster ride. And I think it's important to be able to feel connected to those stories that share that journey with you and make you feel like you're not alone. And they're really catered toward women in midlife. So in this episode, we are going to explore Sandra Morgan's unique perspective, her insights, and her stories that have really helped shape her own understanding of navigating life's challenges, especially when dealing with grief. The holidays are here, and so is our sponsor, OneSkin. With all the holiday festivities, your skin deserves some extra care. Thanks to OneSkin's revolutionary approach to tackling skin aging at the source, you can finish off 2023 with your skin at its healthiest. Now, what makes OneSkin the best? Their products are powered by a groundbreaking peptide. It's called OS1, and it is the first ingredient scientifically proven to prevent the accumulation of aged senescent cells, the primary culprit behind skin aging. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. OneSkin addresses skin health at the molecular level, targeting the root causes of aging so skin feels and appears younger. Time to get started with your new face, eye, and body routine at a discounted rate today. New customers get 15% off with the code OVER50 at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code OVER50. The new year is approaching. Now is the best time to invest in your skin. Age healthy with OneSkin. Hey there, coffee lovers. Can we talk about something essential for the moment? I mean, who doesn't love a flavorful, high-quality cup of coffee during the holidays? But let's be real. Dealing with the burnt, the messy, or the mediocre coffee, that is no way to celebrate. And don't even get me started on those long drive-through lines, especially when it's absolutely freezing outside, or the cost. Okay, this is where Cometeer just swoops in to save the day. Picture this, hyper fresh, flash frozen coffee with incredible flavor that you can whip up in just seconds wherever you are. No machines, no gadgets, and most importantly, no cleanup, whether you're into hot coffee, iced coffee, lattes, or even more. Okay, so let's make this holiday season even more wonderful. All you have to do is head over to cometeer.com/over50 for an exclusive holiday starter pack and score a free fellow traveler tumble when you sign up. Yep, you heard it right. This free tumbler to make your delicious coffee and take it wherever the festivities take you. Just go to cometeer.com/over50. The most wonderful time of year just got tastier thanks to Cometeer. Join the coffee revolution today. Sandra, I'm so glad you're with me today. And in full disclosure, this podcast is airing on what would have been my mother's 88th birthday on December 11th. So I feel like it's serendipitous that you're here with me today. And what you offer, this service that you have co-founded with a friend, is such a beautiful service to offer somebody.
Women,
Yeah,
mostly women, because that's who we're gearing this toward. How can we help them through the grief process
right.
without being invasive, without being in their face? Because sometimes when we're going through the grief process, we don't want that.
Yes.
We don't want people to be invasive. We don't want people in our faces about this because it's hard. And so we thought, why not come up with something that we can mail to people, not email,
Yes.
because that's very impersonal.
Yeah.
And no one gets letters in the mail anymore. And so we thought, why not do that? And Carrie is a wonderful writer, and we have a publishing company. Why not? Why not do that? So we began to come up with a plan of what we would write.
Yes.
And we wanted them to be real and raw. And so we took both stories of Carrie and her friend, and we kind of combined them into one character called Elizabeth.
So this is a fictional character, is that right?
It's a fictional character.
Okay.
And it's a combination of both people and their, not trauma, I guess maybe trauma, as they went through the grief process of losing, for Carrie, her mother, and for our friend, her husband. And in combining these two, we were amazed at the richness of the stories that just came. And they came very, very easy. And so we wrote 26 letters in total.
Right.
And most letters are it's not just a one-page letter. Most of them are 10 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, so anywhere between 7 to 10 pages. And they are full of life stories, how Elizabeth is coping with the loss. And they're just very heartfelt.
Yeah.
Because it comes from a place of understanding it.
Correct.
Experiencing the grief.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How it's one thing to have the idea and the concept, which is a beautiful one.
Thank you.
It's another to now find your women to be able to send it to. So how did you now marry your idea with the woman who was in need at the time? How would they find you? Or you find them?
We find them.
Yeah.
And honestly, they have found us because there are, thanks to Google, thanks to social media, websites and things like that, and people going out and searching. They're searching for things to help them ease through the process. And in the past 4 or 5 years, letter subscription services have become popular.
Sure.
There's quite a few out there. Nothing like this one, but there are quite a few out there. And so we're making sure that we are putting that in our message, and we're making sure that we are targeting women 50 and over.
Right.
Because as you know, as we age, the grief process becomes harder for us.
And there tends to be more of it.
A lot more of it.
Yes.
We have parents that we lose, children, spouses. And so it becomes this thing. It's very strange. My group of friends, we're all pretty much the same age, and we were just discussing the other day that we're all reaching the age where we're going to start losing people, friends, and things like that. So, and with COVID and everything, there's been a lot of loss, and so there's a need for us to reach out to people, because as women especially, we have a tendency to shut ourselves off.
Yes.
When we lose a spouse or we lose a parent, especially as a caregiver, that's Carrie's story. She, was a caregiver for her mother for many, many years. So when her mom died, it was this cut.
It's a severing.
Yeah,
yes.
A severing. And it was just very traumatic for her. So
I was sharing with you before we started taping that when my mother passed, there was such an outpouring of love and support and beauty and generosity. I mean, the apartment was filled with flowers and beautiful handwritten notes. And I was so touched by the words that were expressed. I kept every one of them. And what I also loved were people's interactions with my mother. And they shared with me little stories, little nuggets of Audrey moments and what they will remember from her and their takeaway. And as I was saying to you, it was this added story about my mother and seeing her in somebody else's eyes. And it was it touched me in such a powerful and profound way. And I think about this and I think, what a lovely opportunity. You all may not know the person who've passed, but the feeling, know what it's like. And are the letters that are being sent to the women, are they tailored toward the specific type of loss, like loss of a mother or loss of a husband, and sharing in that way?
They are and they're not.
Okay.
They are geared toward that because that's part of the story, Elizabeth's loss, but in the story, in the letters, there's a combination of both. So she lost her husband, and she lost her mother.
Right.
So within the story are very true elements that actually happened, and then there's also part of the story that part of the letters that would relate to anybody going through that type of loss. Of any loss, really. So that's within the scope of the letters, too. So they relate on a level according to what we're hearing, because we're already getting some feedback. People who have not lost a parent, but have lost a husband, relate. People who have lost their parents, or have lost a husband or whatever. People going through divorce are relating to it because it's also a death.
You bet.
Of sorts. People who have lost a child are relating to them. So there's a lot of elements in there that relate to both.
Can you give me an example? I know you have some letters with you, and I would just love for our audience to hear some of the words that are being written.
So if you're going to ask me to read these, I don't have my glasses with me.
You want my glasses? Here you go. Trust me, they're all over the apartment.
That's the one thing that
and they match you.
That's hilarious. Okay, so, I'll read one.
Okay.
Hello, my new friend. I hope so much this finds you well. I just wanted to reach out to let you know how honored I am that you've trusted me enough to invite me into your mailbox in your life. I'm truly looking forward to growing and sharing with you, and I hope my letters will provide you with loving support and perhaps inspiration as we journey together through life, loss, and the complicated process of overcoming. Truth is, this time of life can be difficult and at times scary and downright painful. But as I'm being forced to find out, it can also be invigorating, exciting, and thought-provoking as we face our fears and grow past all the limitations, pains, and struggles of our yesterdays. As you may or may not know, I lost my husband, John, rather unexpectedly 6 years ago. Then just recently, I also lost my very best friend, my mom, to an unexpected cancer diagnosis, just as we were relocating together to Idaho to begin again. Now I'm beginning again by myself. Not at all what I expected. Yeah. So, and it goes on about her daughters.
Yes.
And
but so beautifully written and personal and sharing the depth of that where I think anybody can relate. I love this story. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Like I said, on what would have been my mom's 88th birthday, you know, it's a bittersweet day.
I've watched your videos, and your mom was a very beautiful woman.
Yes, she was.
And you had a very special relationship.
Yes, I did. I knew today was going to be work to keep it together, and I definitely will do my best. But so thank you. I could put those on to hide the tears that are starting to flow. But Sandra Morgan, we're going to take a real quick break. Thank our sponsors for making this podcast happen. Letters from Elizabeth is what we're talking about to better to help you cope with grief and with loss. And it's such a beautiful, as two writers sitting here and people who love the written word. I just can't think of anything more lovely than to help somebody through the process.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be back right after this. The holidays are here, and so is our sponsor, OneSkin. With all the holiday festivities, your skin deserves some extra care. Thanks to OneSkin's revolutionary approach to tackling skin aging at the source, you can finish off 2023 with your skin at its healthiest. Now, what makes OneSkin the best? Their products are powered by a groundbreaking peptide. It's called OS1, and it is the first ingredient scientifically proven to prevent the accumulation of aged senescent cells, the primary culprit behind skin aging. Now, the real magic here, OS1 has actually been proven in the lab to reduce the biological age of skin by several years, meaning it not only prevents, but it actually slows down skin aging, leaving you with healthier, more hydrated, and glowing skin. I do have some exciting news from OneSkin. They have just introduced these guys, little mini bundles featuring face and eye supplements, body lotion, and a cleanser, all of them neatly packaged in this adorable little travel bag. Perfect for your winter travels or as a thoughtful holiday stocking stuffer. Plus, for a limited time, get an exclusive 15% off on OneSkin products using code OVER50 at checkout at oneskin.co. Give the gift of skin longevity this holiday season. I personally have incorporated their products into my skincare routine, and I got to tell you, the transformation has really been great. What blew me away is the remarkable hydration I've experienced, especially in these winter months. It's like a burst of moisture that my skin is just craving. Believe me, incorporating OneSkin into my skincare routine has truly made my skin come to life. The noticeable improvements, especially in terms of hydration, have made it a staple I just can't go without. And if you're on the fence, take it from me, I think you're absolutely going to love it. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. OneSkin addresses skin health at the molecular level, targeting the root causes of aging so skin feels and appears younger. Time to get started with your new face, eye, and body routine at a discounted rate today. New customers get 15% off with the code OVER50 at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code OVER50. The new year is approaching. Now is the best time to invest in your skin. Age healthy with OneSkin. Hey there, fellow water enthusiasts. I am thrilled to chat with you about something that's become a game changer in my daily routine, keeping my water clean and pure with AquaTrue. Okay, you know, like many of you, I have always been on the lookout for ways to make hydration effortless. Staying healthy and maintaining that 60% water balance in our bodies is absolutely crucial. But here's the kicker, tap water, well, trust issues, right? I mean, who can blame us? According to the Environmental Working Group, 3 out of 4 homes in America have harmful contaminants in their tap water. So I'm a parent, both human, my son, and I'm a dog mom. So like you, I want my kid and I want my pup to be healthy and strong. And building healthier habits starts with us. That's where AquaTrue steps in with their revolutionary water purifiers. Let me give you the lowdown on what makes AquaTrue really the go-to solution here. They use a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, removing a whopping 15 times more contaminants than your ordinary pitcher filters. And get this, no installation, no plumbing required for their countertop purifiers. It is so easy. We all know long-term exposure to PFAS can lead to health issues, and that's why I'm relieved that AquaTrue takes it out of the equation. Plus, the filters are incredibly affordable and they last from 6 months to 2 years, making this quite the cost-effective choice, right? And the taste? Oh yeah, trust me, you're going to notice a difference there. And if you've got a furry friend at home like my Oscar, well, they're going to thank you too. My boy is hydrated more than ever, and I think he appreciates the taste difference too. AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and it makes for a great gift. Today, my listeners receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com, that's AQUATRU.com, and enter code OVER50 at checkout. 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com and use code OVER50. Welcome back to Over 50 and Flourishing. We are talking today about a subject that may be a little difficult to talk about, especially around the holiday time. For those of you who may have lost a loved one recently, holidays can be real tricky. Sandra Morgan is with me. She is a co-founder of a letter subscription service called Letters from Elizabeth, and it's a wonderful way to be connected to somebody who has experienced grief and to receive handwritten letters in the mail about grief and to help you not feel alone. And I think really, Sandra, that's the most important thing, not just during the holidays, but anytime, is that you don't want to feel alone and isolated when you're going through the grieving process. And I say going through because, as I've learned, it is a process that you get through but not over. It is a continuum. You and I were talking that, you lost your mother in 2010?
2010.
2010. You still feel compelled to call her.
Yeah.
You talk to her like I talk to my mother as if she's still here. There are things that happen in my life I feel compelled to call. And you catch yourself and you realize, I feel like an orphan. I'm the only one here. So these letters, and you read such a beautiful one before the commercial break about what people can experience when they subscribe to something like this. What else do they receive? You were sharing with me during the break these little note cards in a way.
Well, what they also receive, because we want them to have something that they can put on the refrigerator or on their mirror in their bathroom or, wherever they want to do it. We also have quotes that we send to them. And we also have little recipes and throughout the letter too, there are other things that we talk about. Elizabeth has a favorite tea, that she likes to drink out of her favorite cup, and there are things that she mentions in there. She has a dog named Hoyt, so they talk about things like that, and it's very personal. It's more personally related than just about death or about grief or things like that. There are other things that are in there too, so we don't want it to be morose. We want people to feel good when they finish reading one of the letters.
How often do these letters come in the mail?
Twice a month.
That's nice.
2 times a month.
Okay.
They receive them in their mailbox. They don't have to get dressed. They don't have to put their makeup on. They don't have to do any of that.
Right.
And they go and get a letter, and it just, hopefully, what we're hoping is that brings them some joy and some peace, some understanding about what they're going through, because not everyone can relate.
Yes. I love how you have targeted this to the over 50 audience. It's apropos because this audience appreciates the handwritten note, which is really becoming a lost art and a thing of the past. Everything is so quick and cryptic. Email, text, where even words get abbreviated, and we're not even using punctuation or speaking even proper English anymore. And I, as a journalist, and same with you as a writer, have such value and appreciation
to these letters. I remember Carrie calling me and telling me that as she's writing them, she's having to be very careful because tears are falling onto the paper as she's writing them, because a lot of it's her story, from her own very own story. And so it's, I hope that that message comes across in these letters, and I think it does. Carrie is a beautiful writer.
And is she constantly, it sounds like she's constantly adding to the base of all the letters. So there's a continuum, right? Because
There's a continuum.
at some point you would think, well, I'm going to run out, but she's having to really soul search in a way
Right.
and think about all the different aspects of grief, and it's not just in the moment, but grief happens over time. And so you can help the woman who's 6 months out from the loss, or a year out, or even several years out.
Right.
What does that experience look and feel like?
So what we've decided, we have the first year done, and basically that is her beginning process.
Yes.
Of grief, and what she's gone through, and so now we are working on year 2, where she's beginning to realize that there is life.
Yes. And what does that look like?
There's life. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
She's in the process of discovering it. And as she's discovering it, she is writing it. And it's some of the first letters that she's written so far are shocking to her.
Interesting.
That there is life, because she really felt like there wasn't going to be. And so it's about her. For example, she went into town, and she used to go to the antique stores with her mom, and that was their thing. That's what they did together. So she hadn't been since her mom died, and she went by herself. She bought something that she would treasure. That wasn't something her mother would have chosen.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect too.
Yeah. A shared experience, but a different outcome.
Right. Right. So they're all coming together, and honestly, I'm real excited to see how they go, because that will be the next step. So when you sign up for Letters from Elizabeth, you get the first year, and then if you choose, you can get the second year into the process. So you're not going to get, when you first sign up, you're not going to get year 2.
Right. It goes sequentially.
Right.
Yeah. Do you write, because I know you're a writer too. I mean, do you participate in the writing of Letters from Elizabeth, or?
I do not.
Are you more marketing and getting the word out there?
Marketing and the publishing side of it.
Yes.
And making sure that it all gets out there in front of people, and we can get it in front of the right women who need it. And that's my end. That's my job.
But you too come from the perspective, I think your heart is in this just because of your own personal story.
Right.
And, as you mentioned, and you can share more about the loss that you've experienced, because you had a lot of it sort of cluster.
It just was there for a while. It just seemed like it was just one after the other. I lost my first child. I lost my father first in 1994. Then I lost my mother in 2010.
Yeah.
And then my brothers 1 year apart. My only siblings in 2017, 2018. So it was just boom, boom, boom there for a while, that there was just so much loss in you. And I felt like I couldn't get a grasp on all of it. It just, when things hit you like that, one after the other, you lose your footing.
Completely. You feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you. And we were even talking during commercial break. You don't even feel like you can breathe at times.
No, there is no air. There's no oxygen.
Yeah.
And you find yourself just gasping for just one breath of air that's not hard, that's not difficult, something that's easy. And it just, there are days when you can find it, and then there are days when you can't find it, and you just feel like you're suffocating.
Yeah.
So, but years later, it's like you were talking earlier, I still want to call my mom. I still want to, as crazy as it sounds, and I'm a grown woman, I want to sit on my dad's lap.
Yeah.
And have him tell me it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
And you don't think that those things hit you when you reach a certain age, but
they do.
And I think they hit us worse at our age or at my age once you reach midlife.
Mm-hmm.
The grieving process is harder because we're starting to lose so many people.
It's a lot. It's a lot of loss. It's compounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of loss.
Do you feel that women our age and in midlife isolate? Because, there's a difference between, as you say, being single or alone versus lonely.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
Well, there's a difference between being a single woman,
yes,
and being a woman alone.
Mm.
A single woman kind of connotates someone who's ready to get back into life, and they're ready to date, and they're ready to do all the things. Whereas being a woman alone, most times is not by choice.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a loss, they've lost a spouse, or sometimes of many years.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden they're lost. I have a friend of mine who lost a husband after a long marriage. She never wrote a check.
Mm-hmm.
She never paid a bill. She never did any of those things. And not only has she lost her partner, who she was married to for so many years, now she doesn't even know how to take care of herself.
She lost her compass.
She lost her compass. Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. And so there's so much that goes on whenever you are midlife, and you find a different struggle than you would, I think. Maybe not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not when you're younger, but that's the way I'm seeing it. That's the way I hear it.
Yeah. I think it just brings your own mortality to the forefront.
Yes.
Really. I mean, it's like, I find the older you get, the faster life goes. It's as if you hit 50 and somebody hit the gas and you're like, wait, whoa, slow it down.
Slow it down.
Slow it down. And then you start to see all this loss and you think, how far away am I from this?
Right.
And it's a place you have to get your head out of because it can be a little scary and a little intimidating.
Right.
And death is very much a part of life. We can't live like an ostrich with our head in the sand and pretend like it's not going to happen. But God still has us here to live. And therefore we must live while we're here, or else we're not doing ourselves or him any favors. Right. And I think,
or the ones we've lost.
Or the ones we've lost. Do they want to see us here, not living anymore? Mm-hmm. And I think, grieving and the process is so important. It's such an important thing to work through. There are so many great ways to do it. Letters from Elizabeth I find to be phenomenal. I just think it's such a great way to connect. And it shows me the power of connectivity and the power of not feeling like you're alone, which is why I love this work on this platform, is to make women not feel alone in whatever aspect of the journey they're in. And I think, too, what it showed me, and maybe you can speak to this too, Sandra, that the friendships that I have cultivated and created recently have been invaluable to me in terms of coping with grief and my life transitions and everything that's happened, as you say, all at once. You feel like it's just hit you. So let's talk a little bit more about that sisterhood and sense of community.
I find my circle as I get older not getting too small, but getting smaller. Mm-hmm. I don't want the drama.
Yeah.
I don't want all of the things that come along with youthful friendships, the pettiness, all the things that come along with that. But I find myself grasping on to my friends now more than I ever did.
Yeah.
As we get older, because as you said, death is inevitable. I'm 67, and I see that 70 number on the horizon, and I find myself thinking, like you said,
where did that come from?
Slow down here.
Right.
And the words came out of my mouth the other day. Someone asked me how old my children are. I almost couldn't say it.
Because they're going to do the math and figure out the rest.
Do the math. And I was sitting here going, wow.
Yeah.
This has been a fast trip.
Fast trip.
And we don't realize how fast it is. And it does go by fast. And so, the issue of your own mortality comes into play. And I'm not afraid of death because my Lord and Savior has me.
Absolutely.
I'm not afraid of death.
Right.
Am I ready?
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
I'll go kicking and screaming probably.
Right.
But I think we all have to face, and the closer we get to 50s and 60s, kind of starts coming into play a little bit more.
Yeah, it does come into play, and I think that's about the age when we start losing parents.
Yes.
And you do find yourself feeling a bit like an orphan, and a lot like an orphan. And it's hard. Every family dynamic is different. The number of people in families different. I came from a very unusual setup where both of my parents were only children and I'm an only child. So losing parents means losing everything.
Right.
There is no extended family. It's just me and my son now. And it's like you said, you still have these longings to sit in your father's lap because you're always a child to them.
Yes.
Even though they're no longer here.
Yes.
And that's a tough pill to swallow.
It is tough
in
though,
loss.
because all of a sudden in life you have no one, as we were talking earlier, you have no one in your life anymore that knows you since you were born.
Yeah.
And knows all the things about you, the good things, the bad things, whatever. My brothers and I used to tease each other mercilessly, and now they're gone. And there's a sense and we talked during one of the breaks about how I woke up after my mom's death, and the first thought that came to my mind was, I'm an orphan. I don't have that person in my life anymore, anybody to grasp onto.
Yes.
Or to even tell me you're doing something wrong. There's
To
no,
check you.
To
There
check
are no
me.
checks and
There's
balances.
no checks and balances
Yeah,
anymore.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting and unusual place to be. My guest today is Sandra Morgan. She's co-founder of Letters from Elizabeth, and it's a beautiful letter subscription service. If you or somebody you know has suffered loss recently, and loss of parent, loss of spouse, my goodness, the worst, loss of a child, this is a wonderful way to feel loved and supported and connected. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to let everybody know on the backside how they can subscribe to this service, what they will receive, and just I can offer my dearest expression of thanks and gratitude for something like this, because it's invaluable. It's precious.
Thank you.
For somebody who's experienced loss.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this. Hey there, coffee lovers. Can we talk about something essential for the moment? I mean, who doesn't love a flavorful, high-quality cup of coffee during the holidays? But let's be real. Dealing with the burnt, the messy, or the mediocre coffee, that is no way to celebrate. And don't even get me started on those long drive-through lines, especially when it's absolutely freezing outside, or the cost. Okay, this is where Cometeer just swoops in to save the day. Picture this, hyper fresh, flash frozen coffee with incredible flavor that you can whip up in just seconds wherever you are. No machines, no gadgets, and most importantly, no cleanup, whether you're into hot coffee, iced coffee, lattes, or even more. Now, I have tried my fair share of coffee, and let me tell you, Cometeer really has upped the game. It is my go-to this holiday season, and I'm here to recommend it to all of you. This flash frozen format is not just easy, it's really kind of a taste revelation from the very first sip. And the best part about all of this, the quality of flavor is unmatched. Cometeer sources its craft coffee beans from the best roasters in the country. Think Intelligista, Onyx, George Howell, and more. And here's the kicker, never burnt or even diluted. Each serving is expertly brewed for optimal flavor and flash frozen to lock in that freshness. It's like a coffee lover's dream come true, delivered right to your door on dry ice ready to transform your coffee routine. Now, let me share just a little secret to make your holidays even merrier. Would you like a hot cup of coffee? Just drop the frozen puck into your cup and add hot water to melt, and voila! And if you're feeling fancy, customize your cup any way you like it. Cometeer makes it simple to whip up iced coffees, lattes, and more in just seconds, saving you time on cleanup with 100% recyclable capsules and no messy grounds or equipment. And here is an idea to impress your friends and family this holiday season. Why not treat them to a delicious, high-quality cup of coffee made right at home? With Cometeer, it's easy to make festive espresso martinis and add a dash of magic to your holiday party. Okay, so let's make this holiday season even more wonderful. All you have to do is head over to cometeer.com/over50 for an exclusive holiday starter pack and score a free fellow traveler tumble when you sign up. Yep, you heard it right. This free tumbler to make your delicious coffee and take it wherever the festivities take you. Just go to cometeer.com/over50. The most wonderful time of year just got tastier thanks to Cometeer. Join the coffee revolution today. Welcome back to Over 50 and Flourishing. My heart is full today, Sandra, having you on December 11th. What would have been my mom's 88th birthday. And we're talking about grief today, and we're talking about a beautiful way that you and your co-founder have created to help people through the grieving process with these exquisitely written letters that come in the mail. Wow, imagine that in today's day and age, a handwritten letter coming in the mailbox, sharing personal stories of grief so that you don't feel alone in that process. And I'm going to share and have Sandra share how you can subscribe to this service. You know, as we're in holiday season now, my goodness, what a beautiful gift for somebody to give somebody who has experienced a recent loss. I mean, yes, you know, flowers are wonderful. All these things are wonderful, but this is the gift of connection that continues and hold somebody's hand as they're going through one of life's most difficult scenarios.
And that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for, as a matter of fact, several of our subscriptions have been gifts because they're not going through the grieving process themselves, but they know someone.
Correct.
So that's been a nice little gift that they've given to them. We've gotten great feedback from the people who have received them as gifts.
I bet you have.
And it's just that touch without being invasive, without being intrusive. And it's just been a really good thing. It's very simple for them to subscribe.
Okay.
They just go to our website, lettersfromelizabeth.com.
That's easy.
And on there it has subscribe. Go there, you put your email address in and your information. And it normally takes about 2 weeks, you receive your first letter.
Okay. And it's not a free service, right?
It is not a free service.
Okay.
However, it's an annual letter subscription service, $150, but it's 26 letters
For a whole year.
For a whole year. And it also comes with, like we were talking earlier, quotes and recipes and other tidbits of
accompaniments, right?
Accompaniments.
Yeah.
Yes, that you can get.
Beautiful. We will provide a link to your website, of course, in the description portion of the podcast and the video so people can have access to this if they're interested in subscribing. I love the idea of gifting somebody letters from Elizabeth. I think, you know, there's no better way to help you through the grieving process than having somebody there sharing experience and not feeling alone. Right. And, you know, grief itself, let's talk about the grieving process as we kind of, you know, button up this podcast. But I really don't want anybody who's listening and watching, I don't want you to feel alone. And I most certainly don't want you to judge yourself in the grieving process. And I think sometimes we as women can be so hard on ourselves. I'm crying too much. I'm not crying enough. I'm busying too much. We're never just right with ourselves. And I think we oftentimes don't grant us the grace that we need.
Oh, no, we don't.
In the process. And everybody's walk through grief is different. And your walk won't be mine. It won't be Sandra's. And you know what? like all of our thumbprints are different. Our expressions of pain and loss are going to be different.
Right.
And that's got to be okay.
That's got to be okay. And people don't know how to handle someone else's grief. Mm-hmm. We know how to handle our own grief because we're going through it. Sometimes, well,
yes.
Surely. But people on the outside don't know how to handle someone else's grief. You know, you were talking once again during the break about the letters, you know, the cards that you received, and how people took time to write something thoughtful in their cards to you. It's easy for us whenever we are writing a card to put our hearts out there and everything. But when we are face to face with a person going through grief, sometimes we don't know what to say. And sometimes the only thing that you need to say to someone going through grief is, how are you? How are you today? How are you this minute? Because as you well know, it changes. It changes from second to second sometimes.
Yes.
And like you said, there's no right or wrong way to go through grief. We all go through it in our own process.
Exactly. And it's a process.
It is a process.
And it takes time.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to have you here today to share with me.
Pleasure being here.
Oh my gosh, Sandra, just what a beautiful way to help women through the process and to offer them comfort and beautiful words of connectivity and shared experience and hope and, yes, sadness and pain and all of it, because it's all there.
It's all there.
But what we need more than anything is that sense of connection and just a little bit of hope that it's all going to be okay, right?
And I would like to gift you with a year subscription for Letters from Elizabeth, because you can relate.
Yeah.
And once again, I want to say how sorry I was to hear about your wonderful, sweet, beautiful mom.
Thank you.
And I know that I see you and you're thriving.
I am definitely giving it my best effort, but I do have my days too.
I know.
And it's all okay. It's all okay. And I thank you for that beautiful gift.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That means the world to me.
Good.
It really does. And I hope that this podcast touched you in a way and you know, spoke to your heart. And as we button it up, I want to wish my mom a happy, heavenly 88th birthday today. I love you and I miss you. And, you know, I'm always so grateful to talk about her and share what a wonderful, amazing person she was and still is for me. So thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You bet. So appreciative to have had Sandra's time today and share her story with you and what she and the co-founder of Letters from Elizabeth, what they're doing. What a beautiful, impressive way to connect and make us feel like we aren't alone as we go through this journey together. Any ideas for future episodes on Over 50 and Flourishing, especially if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, leave those in the comment section below. Courtney and I are always coming through the comments, and we are looking forward to seeing what you want, especially as we head into the new year. You may be bustling with ideas and thoughts about the type of content you want to see on this podcast. So we greatly appreciate your ideas and suggestions. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please click that subscribe button. Give us a like if you enjoy what you are seeing and hearing so far. And if you are listening on traditional podcast formats like Apple and Spotify, again, rate, review, subscribe, and share. Those things are so important to a podcast to help it flourish, to help it grow. So I appreciate you doing all those things for me, to take the time to write a letter for me. That's a rating. So I would love to see that. It's just so helpful for me, and to be able to bring this podcast to more eyes and more ears out there and to have greater impact. And in the end, isn't that what we're all looking for, is just to be able to change a life in a positive way in any way that we can. Thank you so much for being with me today, and I'll see you next week.